Happy Tuesday! It's Tuesday. Welcome back to my channel. My name is taymnells and you're watching Tay Tips Tuesdays. Alright, so you guys, today with Tay Tips Tuesdays, I really just want to talk about how to turn your dreams into reality. I noticed it's something that we all talk about in the millennial culture and generation, and it's just such a trending conversation. Like, who wants to work for someone at the end of the day, especially during this time in 2018? And it's so funny because I feel like you always hear old people, or just not old people, but very mature and authority, always talk about our generation, specifically millennials and the Gen Zs, not having jobs and wanting to do everything themselves and always being rebellious and going against the grain. Well, that's because we're discovering that you don't have to work for someone in order to be happy. You don't have to work for someone in order to meet your financial goals. You don't have to work for someone to be happy. Did I say that already? I don't know, but you get it. So the reason I felt the need to even make this a conversation, for those who might have skipped a little bit, we're talking about how to make your dreams become reality. That is what's going on with me right now. So a lot of you don't know, majority of you don't know, but I recently decided to go entrepreneurial, coming from a 9-to-5 type of job situation. It's been about a few months. Something that I do is social media, and I'm in the production scene. So I was always working for different companies, whether it was in social media, in production, also in fashion too, which I do a lot of my freelancing. So it became a time where I was not only working for someone else's dreams, working the 9-to-5, but I was also freelancing because I just love what I do so much. But at the same time, I've always had just this fear of, I have to make sure I have income coming in every 2 weeks or whatever that is. But as long as I know that I have a specific amount of money coming in, I know that my bills will be paid. And that helps me sleep at night. So it didn't matter that I had freelancing gigs, and me even knowing I know my worth, okay? Just like I'm sure some of you know your worth, I know my worth, but that didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was making sure my bills were taken care of, and I was being, the responsible young woman that my mom and dad raised me to be. So here I am, working these 9-to-5s. Coming from one of my favorite jobs, I will say, is Fashion Nova. Love everyone there. Still super, super, super good friends with almost everyone who started with me there. I wasn't happy there. I was kind of in a controlled, confined type of situation where I just felt like I was hitting a wall at this point, my boss just wanted to make sure he knew when I was at work, when I left work, off the clock or on the clock. I'm on the clock regardless, so I never felt like I had a life. I felt like my life was Fashion Nova, but obviously you see Fashion Nova is popping right now because that's how hard we had to work to make sure you knew who we were. So it was such an amazing experience. I'm glad I did it. I'm thankful for the opportunities that the owner was able to provide for me there. And then from there, I went on to another company that I really love, dear and near to my heart, Trending All Day. Trending All Day, I was able to do more of the production side, which I was so excited about because I have a bachelor's in media studies, and the main thing I focused in school was, just the camera skills and operation and post-production and graphic design and web design. And it's just crazy to just see that I have this degree and everything that I worked towards in school, and see it do a 360. And here I am in 2018, graduated in 2016 for those who don't know. Here I am in 2018, literally using my degree in every single aspect you can think of. And I thank myself for that. I thank myself for believing in myself that I can take, the attributes and the training from my professors at my college, and be able to utilize that now within my job, such as Fashion Nova and Trending All Day. Well, to take it a step further, other people besides myself see the work that I have and have reached out to me. So I've worked with numerous companies. I can't even think of them on the back when it comes to personal branding. So influencers, to fashion companies, to owners of businesses who are their own business. So I love what I do, and because of that, I decided, well, why continue working for someone else's dreams when I can work just as hard for my own and see that money flow back into my own, And I think something else that's so funny is one thing I always think about, and you guys let me know in the comments below too, but I always notice whenever was working for someone that they always, at some instance during any part of my time working for them, they'd be like, you don't seem too excited. I'm not excited, excuse me. I'm not as excited as you because this isn't my dream. This is your dream. I'm working hard for you. I'm working hard for you to make money. So I'll never be as excited as you were for your own, your own dream. And so thinking about that, I'm like, wow, I put all this hard work on myself, all this pressure on myself to make sure that this one individual is excited. And here I am like, wow, if I put just this amount of work into myself, can you imagine how far I would have been already? So it also reassured me, knowing like, okay, well, at least I do know. The Lord is letting me know, the universe is letting me know, without even looking for people, without trying to grab clients in. I have people coming to me. So seeing that, I just felt like, well, obviously I need to make this a full-time thing. I need to turn my own dreams into reality because this is what I love doing. You don't get to say, by this year, I want to make X amount of money, because you're working for someone else and they get to tell you what you're doing. And so because of that, working my ass off is what got me to where I am. Working my ass off is why I've been able to turn my dreams into reality. Okay, but y'all, don't get it twisted. I look cute. I may look like it's easy looking at my Instagram, looking at my traveling, all that, but no, it is not easy working for yourself. When I say the hustle is real, y'all, I mean the hustle is capital R-E-A-L, okay? It's real. It started with a lot of preparation. Like, these were kind of pre-notions, premeditated actions that I was already filling myself with. So for example, you need to always have emergency money put aside. So that's one thing that I subconsciously always did, was referring back to Tay Tips Tuesday's financial tips. I started a savings on Digit called Rainy Day. Rainy Day, obviously meaning like for when it pours, right? The struggle is real. So I saved, some cash in that account, so that if there was ever anything going on, if I felt some type of way within my lifestyle that I need to grab that cash, I could grab that cash. So it's been a few months. I've been working for myself for a few months now, starting in March. The very end of March I started working for myself. Thank God, though, I have a savings to be able to bounce back, because you got to think about the things of, okay, I need rent. How much is your rent? If you have a car note, I have a car note for sure. So that means if I have a car note, that means I also have insurance. So putting all these things into play, it's like, yes, I'd love to work for myself, but at the same time, working for myself, I still need to make sure I'm covering my ass. No one's walks of life are gonna be the same as anyone else's. So I'm not saying that you need to save in order to quit your job, but this is what reassured me that it will be okay for me to not have a job and work for myself while I'm still building up my clientele. And I think the biggest thing when I did decide to stop working for someone was I can't be lazy. And within those first few weeks, I was kind of on this high of life. So I was kind of living that lifestyle that I shouldn't have been living, with going out every morning and hanging out downtown and with my friends and stuff. First of all, what are the odds that the day you decide to hit your friends, your closest friends, and be like, yo, I don't want a job no more, and they're like, girl, I ain't got one either, So you just seen it as a sign. And I don't know about you guys, but I take every single sign for something. The universe puts things in its place the way it's supposed to, strategically. And you need to look at that and pay attention to those details, because it means something right there. Piggybacking back on to, working hard. Like, you work for yourself. You have, Taylor, you don't have your income was split in half, girl. What is you doing? Like, you have your plan like you got a rich daddy just fueling your bank account. No, girl. Get your butt at that desk and at that laptop and start working. Because if I want to keep my lifestyle, if I want to keep traveling, if I want to keep looking good for my future husband. No, I'm totally kidding. What I'm saying all this to say is, make sure your actions are conscious. Who doesn't want to work for themselves? Everyone wants to work for themselves, but who can really get it done? Survival of the fittest. So you need to make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you just decide, I'm going to work for myself. And I mean that in every single way. You establish what it is that's going to bring that money in, number one. Number two, how are you going to make it from the point that you quit to the point of the first amount of money that's going to come in? Think about those things. I also want to just give you the real reasons why I decided I didn't want to work for anyone anymore, and how you guys can now work for yourself. Follow these tips and you will be good, okay? You will be good. Starting with one thing I kind of touched on, but I want to say one more time. Why work for someone else's dreams? Number one, you work super duper hard to make minimum wage. Number two, you're just not ever going to be as happy because it's not something that you're fulfilling for yourself. And number three, you don't get to make as much money as you want to. You only get to make as much money as the person who owns the company gets to make, and that's not fun. I've seen the ways that, you know, my parents budgeted their money, which I have one who's super good with budgeting their money, and then I have one who is just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, no, self-destruction. And I think that's really why I'm so passionate about working for myself and being able to show you guys how you can work for yourself and be comfortably working for yourself. A lot of my friends and just acquaintances and just even people I don't know, they're always asking me the how. How are you doing it? Like, what do you do for a living? My mom doesn't even, whenever people even ask my mom, they're like, what does your daughter do for a living? She doesn't even know what to say. However, she knows that her daughter's staying on her own 2 feet and doesn't need for anything. Something else that I will say that I really love is setting my own schedule. Here I am, 12 p.m. talking to you guys. It's 12 p.m. and I'm talking to you guys, when normally at 12 p.m. I would be considering, should I take my lunch right now, or should I wait till later so that the time will go by fast after lunch? And for me, that was something that, you know, I really love, is being able to set my own schedule, because I am super busy too. For example, right after this, I'm headed to a celebrity golf tournament because I was booked to do some PR and whatnot. So that just gives you a scope of why I love being able to set my own schedule. Number three, I like to do things my own way. Like, you ever realize in the workforce, even if you're working with a partner or even in school, whatever it is, you're not working for yourself and working by yourself on a project or something. And you know, there's certain times that you have to swallow your pride and be like, okay, that's fine. But you know you hated the way that turned out, or whatever it was about that situation would have been like, and in your head you're like, I would have made that look way better, or I would have done that way better, or I would have done that so differently. If I feel like I want to put a certain caption at this point during this time of the day, I'm gonna do that, and can't nobody tell me nothing. So I love that. Being able to literally do things my own way. Here I am sitting once again in the middle of the day, filming, because I feel like filming in the middle of the day instead of at the end of the day after my job. Having a structured schedule for what it is that you're doing is so important. You want to make sure that you're getting tasks completed, not only writing the tasks down, but you're checking them off. And one thing that I noticed when I first started working for myself is that I wasn't using my checklist. I was just kind of like going here and there, rambling here and there, and then realize I'm missing things now. Now people are like, hey, you forgot to respond, or hey, this, or hey, following up. You know, it's a lot of that, and just unorganization. And that's something that, you know, you cannot have when you work for yourself, because you are solely dependent on yourself, meaning your income, your bills and stuff are dependent on you. It's not dependent on another job anymore, it's dependent on you. It's such a great feeling when you're getting things done, especially for yourself, because it's for you. So it's almost a sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God I did that. But then you look back like, I should have been did that, and that. You know? And you definitely need structure. Just because you work for yourself doesn't mean now I can just aimlessly do things when I feel like it. Yes, when you feel like it, but make sure, going into point number 5, is time management. If we're gonna do things the way we feel like it, we need to make sure that we do have time management. Time management is so important. And how I will say I use time management for me is the mornings are dedicated to myself. I do not allow any appointments, meetings, even friends, nothing happens. I don't even clean, I don't do anything. The only thing I do when I wake up at 7 in the morning is I get up, out my bed, make my coffee, and sit right here at this computer and just get stuff done. Especially on Mondays. Oh my gosh, Mondays especially. That's when the most emails come in. That's when everyone's getting their week started. So it's the busiest. That is the prime time of getting business done. Did not have time management until I got to training all day. When I was at training all day, my tasks weren't getting done. So it's that whole domino effect of you want your income to come in. Okay, well then let's break it down. At this time you need to do this. By this date this needs to be done, so that by this day I got this amount of money coming back, fueling into my account, so now I can pay my bills. Of course, as stated, you can everyone's path is different. So yours might not be I wake up right in the morning. So it's just a matter of making sure you know what that time, that schedule is for you, and then that works for you realistically. Once again, we're turning our daydreams into reality, so make sure everything that you're doing is realistic. It's not something that it works for a few days and now you're just depleted. No, make sure it's something that your body is comfortable with, something that your mind is comfortable with. So bringing me to point number 6, a lot of people always ask me, well, I just don't even know where to start. I know what I want to do. I know I can get it done, but I just don't know where to start. Okay, well, let me be cliche right now. Just like Nike, just do it, just do it. The hardest part of completing anything, of reaching your goals or anything of that such, is taking that first step. That first step can even be Google. So for someone who's like, oh, I wanna be an actor, the first thing I would do is Google, how can an actor join a union, Because a union is what guarantees you the money, if you're on contract that there's always gonna be money coming in. Or if I'm a photographer, the first thing I'm gonna do is start soliciting my services on Indeed, on Craigslist, making a website and Instagram, So it's so easy to get started in any aspect of your career choice, or the dreams and hobbies that you want to take on. It's just a matter of taking that first step. And the first step is always the hardest, just because it's fear. It's not you don't know how. It's not I've never done this before. It really is just fear. It's the fear of just taking that first step. But let me tell you, once you take that first step, it's such a sigh of relief. It's just so easy. And the universe helps you. The universe is literally working in your favor. The amount of interactions and networking that has come through just from me deciding, sit your ass at this table and get some work done, is ridiculous. For, tip number 6, just do it. Just take the first step. Take that first step. Just do it. There's no other way to say it. Like I said, everyone comes from all walks of life. Everyone has all their own different dreams and what their realities look like. So you can't look at someone else for that first step. You have to just do it. You want to be a model? First thing I would do is find a photographer and take thousands of photos and submit them to all the websites. You want to start a business? First thing you got to do is start your business plan. Google business plan. Google SOPs. Those are ways that you're able to just start getting your feet wet with what it is you want to do within, your own entrepreneurial experiences. So now let's talk about ways to keep you as a business afloat. First thing first, networking is so key and so important. Also, on top of just networking, is building that relationship. You can't expect to go into a client's office and think that they'll give you, they'll meet you halfway just because. No, you have to build that relationship. You have to build that trust. You have to make that person or that company or that brand, want to be dependent on you as an individual, because it is just you by yourself. And on top of that now comes maintaining that relationship, right? So you can't do a one and done and just think that, everything's good. People matter. The most successful relationships, the most successful businesses, the most successful people in this world. You have people like Oprah and Bill Gates. And one thing that I study about these two individuals is the way they build their relationship. Covert persuasion. Look up what covert persuasion is. I will say, after reading a book on covert persuasion, which I'm not finished with it, but it has helped me gain clients and maintain those clients. Give me some feedback. What do you think of covert persuasion? Do you think that's something that would be useful for you if you wanted to, continue your daydreams or start your daydreams? So within networking, it's building that relationship, maintaining that relationship, and last within networking is make sure you don't burn that bridge. One thing I learned from the owner of Fashion Nova is you always let the other person burn that bridge, because no matter what, they will come flocking back at your feet, no matter what. Don't even take it personal, because business is business. Don't take it personal, whatever it is. Just make sure you don't ever burn a bridge, because you want to be able to always go back to someone and use them for whatever it is. People are meant to be used, not misused. And I will use that for Tay Tips Tuesdays and elaborate on that, but just let that sink in. People are meant to be used, not misused. So don't burn that bridge. Something that I feel a lot of successful people always preach to the choir is consistency. I've reflected back on times that I've been consistent with myself, and Jesus, consistency is key, y'all. It is not cliche. It is not the typical answer. It is the answer. But one thing I know is I want my lifestyle the way I have it, and I'm going to continue to keep it that way. So if I was consistent, those are the things I was thinking about. No, I want this to eventually be my daydream. I want Our Sisters Our Time to be my daydream, and I still want Our Sisters Our Time to be my daydream. Whether it was writing a blog, whether it was writing my business plan, whether it was writing with my mentor just to see, you know, I made that happen. And reflecting back, before even realizing that consistency was what it was, I was doing things that was helping me be consistent as well. I have my organizer. Here's my organizer. I have my notebook of tasks. I don't know if you can see, but literally, I'm like always writing all my tasks down in here. And number 3, I don't have it with me, but it's called a 5-minute journal. You can go on Amazon and get it. I want to say it's 10 to 15 bucks. It holds you for accountability, and I love it so much. So it holds you so much to your standards that you have no choice but to be consistent. So, however, because of that journal, it really did hold me accountable, and it helped keep me as consistent as I needed to be to get Our Sisters Our Time to where it is now. I recommend it to all my friends. I got my mom one, and I got, you know, a couple of my friends one. The reason why I am where I'm at right now, one of the bigger reasons, is because of that book. That book held me accountable. And accountability honestly should be one of them, but we ain't got time for that today. However, consistency is a very key fact in being successful with your entrepreneurship. So everything I'm saying builds up to this one point right here. The minute you decide to walk away from your job, walk away from whatever it was, and decide to turn your dreams into reality is the same minute that you are your own personal brand and that you represent yourself. So it's just for your own being, it's important to be on top of your P's and Q's at all times. You are your own brand at this point. The pressure is on. Now, don't let that be a setback for you, but the pressure is on. You work for yourself now. That means you represent yourself. That means you pay yourself. That means you are yourself. That means people are watching you. That means people want to engage with you and help you. And you have to understand that there are doors that are going to be open, and you can't hesitate to step through that door. There's a difference between things feeling right, and there's a difference between feeling nervous. But understanding that all eyes are on you and that you are dependent on yourself is very important, you know. So leaving you off with Tay Tips Tuesdays, this being the last tip of today, is just understanding that you do have to be responsible for yourself. It's a long journey. It is a long, hard journey, but it is a journey that is filled with so much emotion and so much relief, because you know you're doing it for yourself. And that's what you have to focus on, is that there's one prize at the end of the day. There's one reward at the end of that tunnel where you see the light, and it's focusing on that. Believing in yourself is so important. I keep saying, oh. Well, you know what that means. Time is up. I gotta go. Got somewhere else to go. So thank you guys so much for watching Tay Tips Tuesdays. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all socials. taymnells. Comment below. Give me thumbs up. Let me know what you do and don't like. Let me know what tips you want to hear, as I love being able to speak from a testimonial standpoint. Have a great, awesome rest of your Tuesday. Whatever you're doing, please kill the week. Kill it, kill it, kill it. Bye, y'all.